Howdy folks, Mike Oxbrown here, gracing your devices with more sub-mid fitness content. I'm unfortunately joining you from Snap City as I twinged my neck stretching the other morning before work. I'm not talking a fitness-related stretch. I mean, I was just stretching and yawning on my sofa when my neck said, "Hey asshole, snap." It's my own fault. I need to remember that I'm not 16 anymore and I can't just go around recklessly stretching without ruinous consequences. Anyway, on to the topic of today's video, programming. Or more specifically, the three main variables of programming: intensity, volume, and frequency. In my opinion, intensity is the most important and also the most difficult to quantify. Volume can easily be counted in three different ways: number of working sets, number of total reps, and total tonnage, or weight times reps times sets. Frequency can be counted in two: how many times you train and how many times you train each major muscle group. Intensity is harder to define because intensity is a gauge of effort and effort is largely subjective. There is the RPE scale, or rate of perceived exertion, which is a grade of 1 to 10 given by the lifter of their perceived proximity to failure. In this context, failure is defined as the inability to complete a full concentric rep. An example of how this works is that if a trainee completes a set and gives a score of RPE 8, it means they are 2 reps from failure. At which point they should be instructed to get their ineffectual arse back under the bar and finish the fucking set. Just kidding. I don't like this method, and have only used it during a personal training course to get a bullshit diploma that isn't worth the paper it's printed on. Failure is already difficult to gauge in sets taken to failure, as some trainees who think they're training to failure would be capable of 1 or 2 more reps given the appropriate motivation, but they just failed to try hard enough. This is what voids much of the research on training and why there's so much conflicting data when it comes to volume recommendations. It's also why I recommended 4 to 6 working sets per muscle group per week in my last video. As not only does it allow one to prioritize intensity and progression, but it gives you the freedom to go all out on your working sets. Same with hitting each major muscle group once a week. Just knowing you've only got one chance that week to properly hit your chest makes you go into overdrive on your pushing work. And the improved focus, connection, and absence of joint pain are also nice perks I've found on a once-a-week body part split. For around 80% of my lifting career, I've trained on either an upper, lower, or full body split, always hitting every major muscle group 2 to 3 times a week. I'm not saying this approach is suboptimal when it comes to hypertrophy, but it is when it comes to minimizing the downsides of training. This is because training is a negative imposition. It leaves you in a diminished state. You are temporarily weaker. Getting stronger is what happens as a result of effective resting and diet. So it makes perfect sense to prioritize rest if, like me, you work a full-time job and have a cursed sleep pattern. In summary, my take-home recommendations are: 2 to 3 sets on 2 to 3 exercises per muscle group. Split your training over 1 to 2 sessions per muscle group per week. Train no more than 4 times per week. Pick a rep range between 8 and 20, and when you exceed the top rep, increase the weight by 5%. The bigger jumps in weight are going to allow you to take advantage of the ability to set rep PRs at a given weight. This is useful for intermediate trainees who aren't going to be able to increase the weight in a linear fashion the way a novice can. Now, some of you will be thinking, but that's not enough volume to be optimal, and fixing to cite some Professor Dickhead's research in the comments. The point is to make it enough. It's funny to me how many are scared of being suboptimal when they're not even being effective to begin with. Anyway, that's the video. I've got to go off and assemble some patios. Feel free to have a contentious discussion in the comments section about the definition of a woman. All the best.